Concord. A game that's been 8 years in development just dropped last week and sent shockwaves through the gaming community. But unlike the hype around Black Myth Wukong, this game has been flooded with hate from every direction. And it isn't just about bad reviews. Concord has been dragged for every possible reason. Could it really be that awful? Even the worst games to date usually have something going for them, right? Well, not this time. What did Concord do to earn such a brutal backlash? And is the hate even justified? First, let's break down what the game is all about, because chances are, most of you haven't even touched it, thanks to the overwhelmingly negative buzz. If you blend Overwatch with Valorant and Destiny together, you get this piece of shit.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
After mixing all three, two of them being masterpieces, you get a sci-fi PvP twist with a bunch of alien-like characters. It is a game many anticipated to bring something new to the table, or at least be worth its 8-year development. Seeing the trailer, many players got their hopes high that Firewalk, another one of Sony's associated developers, would deliver something that would blow gamers away, since Concord is their first game ever. And yes, it did shock the community, just not in the way it was expected to. Their website promised to bring people together and inspire unforgettable moments, and they truly did that. Concord managed to unite gamers to trash on this game, so even if the game flopped, Firewalk can at least claim they achieved that much. But their developers doubled down with arrogance and turned out to be a bunch of egotistical narcissists. On the release day of Concord, one of the developers expressed his pride to be part of something great, but instead of cheers, he was met with severe backlash and criticism. If your game has blunders and copied content, it'll get a rough reception, but this developer took things to a whole new level by calling the game's disappointed players talentless freaks. That was like pouring gasoline on a fire, especially since many players felt misled by the trailer's promises. And it obviously made things worse for the developer and the game itself. The dev thing turned out to be more serious than anyone expected, with the developer's ego throwing the last nail into Concord's coffin. PlayStation directly took the responsibility of promoting Concord through its first-party game dev studios. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off like it should have been. Rumor has it that the developers' jobs were on the line if the game flopped, but it's unclear if that's true, or just a desperate ploy to get more players into this $100 million disaster. Either way, gamers aren't buying it, and why should they, when they got every single ridiculous thing into one game? Apart from being released in one of the most crowded niches with multiple alternatives and almost at the end of its own genre's life cycle, Concord broke records in all the wrong ways. If there was anything good about it, it wouldn't be struggling to hit even 1,000 players on Steam. So, what went so horribly wrong with Concord that it earned this level of hate? First off, it's the game itself. As mentioned earlier, Concord is purely a mashup of other games, mixing elements of 3 widely played genres, making it lack originality. And it isn't just blowing smoke, there's a reason behind this. We know Concord started being developed 8 years ago, 2016 to be exact. Guess what else happened in that year? Overwatch, the game Concord has been accused of copying, was released. Playing Concord feels like you're playing Overwatch with mechanics that are almost identical to Valorant. But many forget to realize that Concord even ripped off Call of Duty's game mode, Kill Confirmed, rebranding it as Trophy Hunt. Concord turns out to have some of the most ridiculous guns and characters in the history of PvP multiplayer games. With no description and no clues, players are forced to figure out how weapons work mid-battle, turning the first few matches into frustrating trial runs. But that's not all. As you jump into the game, you'll feel the game's slow movement, like you're stuck with 500 ping. In a genre dominated by fast-paced titles like Overwatch and Destiny, Concord seems determined to set new records, and how not to make a game. Then there's the insane spawning system. Yeah, random spawning in a 5v5 match. You spawn with your team, but when you get eliminated, you respawn solo in a completely random spot, sometimes even surrounded by the enemies, just to be wiped out again in seconds. Now where's the fun in that, huh? Well, let's say we overlook the lousy mechanics and the blatant rip-offs. Many games make mistakes, and it's not like Concord is the worst game in history. Maybe we can at least enjoy the characters and their powers, right? Well, Concord managed to shit in that domain too. The character designs are dull, making no sense at all. The characters aren't as appealing as they should be. The selection system is a straight-up copy of Apex Legends, and the overall vibe screams Guardians of the Galaxy. If you're looking for originality, Concord isn't the best option. But here's the fact that triggered the whole gaming community like never before. If Concord had been a free-to-play game, the situation would have been different. But that's not the case, and that's exactly what the gamers are pissed about. We're talking about a $40 price tag for a game that feels like a lazy mashup of ideas stolen from other titles years ago.
Painfully generic shooter. A $40 hero shooter in today's market is insanity.
No originality, no fresh twist. Instead, just a rehash dumped into an already overcrowded market, making anyone who wanted their money's worth furious. And when players found out about what PlayStation sacrificed to make Concord happen, all hell broke loose. To get this game out the door, PlayStation sacrificed Spider-Man 2's multiplayer, axed Faction 2, and even shut down Japan Studios. And to top it all off, they dared to bring in a limited edition controller for the game that couldn't even crack 1,000 players. But no matter what they do, Concord might fail when another game in the niche arrives. With Valve's new game Deadlock being officially revealed, players have high hopes. Deadlock has quickly surpassed Concord's peak player count, raising hopes that it might seal Concord's fate for good. But why is Deadlock getting praise while Concord gets roasted? The answer lies in the character design. While Concord's characters lack personality and fail to stand out, Deadlock brings characters to life with real flair. That's why Deadlock is in the lead. But let's not forget that Deadlock also shares Concord's gameplay mechanics and fits into the same niche. In a market that's struggling to stay relevant, Deadlock might live long enough to see Concord's demise, but wouldn't be able to survive seeing how some players were reacting to it. With everything going wrong for Concord, it seems like the game is near its end already. This small player base means matchmaking takes ages, making the wait feel like an eternity. In addition to the lack of originality and the bland character designs, it's no surprise that the game is in trouble. But there could still be a way to save it. The biggest complaint is that players don't want to pay for a game that feels so underwhelming. If Concord was made free on PS Plus, not only would this draw in enough players to stay alive in the niche, but would also strengthen the game against its rival, Deadlock. If you like the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more thrilling content.